guys? Tambo here with your weekly core report. Water is wet and RPS members are shipping as usual. Our NBA content has been on fire since the beginning of the season. I kicked off the week by shipping a WFBBC seat on FanDuel using a low-owned Isaiah Livers recommended on the Premium Final Countdown show.
I hope he comes off the bench because I know for a fact they love this kid. They're going to give him run no matter what. They're probably going to push him, and he's $3,100.
Our premium content comes through big time, whether it's our up-to-lock shows, heat maps, core plays, or playbook. Join us today so you can start shipping too. I wasn't the only one shipping a seat last week. Our guy Locke secured a Draftkings NBA Live Final seat as well. AP's core plays from Sunday helped a bunch of members win too. Junior hit for $3,000, while Nick Story shipped for over $15K. Steve Boynton used our core plays and playbook to make a late swap that won him $3,000 in NBA. And Punisher used the NBA heat map to ship $100,000 on Draftkings. As always, subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the like button on this video as well. Keep the good mojo going. Our NFL dominance continued into Week 8 as well with some big wins. D-Hops shipped for $4K on FanDuel. EjoCam won $5K. And Dirty Deeds 30 hit for $7,500. Some of our best screenshots aren't necessarily the huge scores. Bankroll building is a big part of becoming successful, and we love to see the good ROI hits too. Cusplove illustrated this perfectly, turning $2 into $800, while Wes turned $18 into $2,500 on DraftKings, and Jalapeno turned $198 into a monster $77K. His great pizza brought the great mojo in Cincinnati. Congrats again to all our members. If you want to be featured in the core report, drop your winning lineup in the Members Never Win channel in our premium Discord. If you're not a member, join now. You won't find a better value with all sports included for one low price. Remember, if you're not winning with us, you're watching us win. Until next time, let's keep running pure.
It's the news dump. Crane, Tambo, Holden, helmet behind the scenes. What we do here on this show, if you're new to it, well, we give you the news that came out today from the injury reports, and we let you know how to handle things and how to adjust your lineups on Sunday. So remember the stuff we're saying. If you're watching on tape delay or whatever, rewind, I don't know, hit the like button even if you're not watching live. We'd appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. Let's get into this. Every single week this season, Crane, Tambo's hit for like six figures every show.
It's incredible. So like you got to share the love, buddy.
It's official. No more congrats unless you hit the 250. You have made it to Tony's level. No more congrats. 250K. Outside of that, screw you. You can win all this money, but it doesn't matter.
I'm on a streak right
what
now.
What a heater, man. You don't even play NBA. You don't even watch NBA. You're just tell me the secret, Tambo. What is the secret?
Just use the content. Someone messaged me again today. Said, what do you do? I showed them. I showed it the last time. The first night when I won the 100K, you just take the playbook, apply it. You got to put some game theory to it, some rules and stuff like that. If you know DFS, it's definitely a little bit more helpful. But for sure, I think it's just the greatest content, the best team. We've got all the guys. It's just use their information and use it. Not against them because we're all one team, but in the game of DFS, you are playing individually. So you're kind of just trying to build the best lineup with it and hope it gets you to the top.
All right. What do you got, Crane? What's happening with you this weekend, man? Everything good?
Everything's good here. Just kind of ready for NFL. Played a little golf today. Life's good. I got life. Life is good over here.
I am definitely ready to talk some NFL. Jonathan Taylor is going to be out. Deion Jackson is the guy. Doesn't look like Zach Moss is going to be ready to play either. Tambo. They'll activate Jordan Wilkins or Phillip Lindsay, but do you trust Deion Jackson this week?
So far, it looks like I do. I mean, I'll wait and see. Sunday will be the final call on that one. The only thing I was a little bit worried about is the matchup. I just don't know how good, it really is. They don't really have an O-line now. He looked explosive the last time we saw him. I thought he was very good. So I think they can use him more ways than one. They can check down to him. He can catch passes, all that. He's very cheap. There's guys out. I don't want to overthink it. But we do, I feel like, at least, and I know, Crane, when you were on the GPP First Look show this week, I was sort of echoing your sentiment that there's a lot of running backs on this slate. And now this opens up even more. I thought the same as you did when it came to that. And that's the only reason I'm not sure how much I'll have as of now, because I think there is other good options that we could go to instead, but definitely makes sense. Don't want to overthink the spot. He looks pretty good. It's just more matchup. And if I need him, that's what it'll come down to.
Craney's got the Patriots. What do you think?
No, I mean, it's like, is it a great matchup? No. Is the team total good? No. Is there a ton of good running backs this week? Yes, but he's also about $1,000 cheaper than all the other good running backs. And I've needed that salary because I'm trying to spend up at wide receiver as often as possible, which means that Deion Jackson at 5,200 as opposed to, a guy like Ramondre Stevenson at 6,200, who I do like, but he's still $1,000 more expensive. I think Deion Jackson's just he's become kind of a necessity on this slate for me. Like every time I build a lineup, I'm like, I need the $1,000. I'm going to Deion Jackson.
Well, Chuba Hubbard's out for the Panthers. So Foreman's back in. And Foreman, I mean, he ran for 118 last week. He had, what do you have? 3 scores. These guys love to run. So you're going to take Jackson over Foreman, who I believe is what, 6K?
Yeah. I mean, it's a different price range here. Like Jackson's in a pricing tier all of his own, but Foreman's, he's there with guys like, I mean, just listen to these names really quick in this price range. Joe Mixon, ETN, Kenneth Walker, Ramondre Stevenson, Mostert, Deontay Foreman, Eno Benjamin if James Conner's out. Like there are so many good plays in this spot. I'm probably going to kind of just focus on whoever's lower owned. And I think that might end up being Deontay Foreman because this is a guy that, look, the matchup doesn't look elite against the Bengals. Bad team total here, but we know he's going to see the rock 20 times, and you really can't argue with that kind of usage. So he's going to be somebody that's in a lot of my lineups, and I feel good about all these guys. I really do, which is a little troubling because I want to have some strong opinion, like, oh, I don't like this guy, but all these guys in this low 6K range just seem like such good plays.
All right. What do you think here with Foreman and then maybe Foreman versus Jackson? You got to take on that, Tambo?
Yeah, I definitely am in on Foreman over Jackson. I was in on Foreman even if Hubbard was coming back. I know it sounds crazy, but we've seen it a couple times where those sort of backups have come back. And to me, they're a backup at least where, yeah, he could bang him in at the 3-yard line or whatever, but it's even better now that he's out. I like the matchup. I think what is interesting is when you look, I was just trying to pull it up here quick, but I know Mixon is really popular this week. I like playing the opposite side in some cases. Mixon's showing around 24%. That'll come down probably and it will even out more, but Foreman was going to be like half his ownership. So if I get that, even better for me. I think the matchup is better and stronger. So I'm personally interested, and I was before. I'm even more interested now at 6,000. Like Crane said, lots of other guys here, but he's definitely one I've got interest in.
Yeah, I think like you're going to see that.
Great. Yeah, sorry.
I just think you're going to see this ownership on Mixon come down. Like
it has
all these,
now, yeah.
All these guys just can't be owned. And Mixon's another guy that's a phenomenal play. And I think you're fine playing both these guys against each other. Normally I try and avoid doing that, but they just get so much usage. Mixon now without Jamar Chase, they might have to lean on him even a little bit more. The Panthers, outside of DJ Moore, they just have nobody else besides Foreman. There are just so many good guys in this range. I get why you want to spend up at running back. A guy like Austin Eckler, is phenomenal play this week, obviously, but I think there's an opportunity cost there, and they're just the cheap running backs are just such good. I feel like, Tambo, how about we play this slate like 5 times already this year where these 6K running backs are just in elite spots?
Yeah, it has to do with the pricing. I think that's the other thing that, again, people keep whining about the chalk hitting. It's hitting for a reason. Like these are prices that can be exploited. The best players in the world in DFS are exploiting them and using them to their advantage. And then they're building what looks to you like a cash lineup because the best plays happen to be in it. But they're, like I said last week, I'll just do a quick spiel on it because people don't catch all the shows. I thought this was the best piece I had this week, though. Last week was what? It was Foreman, it was Kamara, and it was Pollard. And everyone's mad that those guys hit. Like, what are you mad about? It was 7,100 for Kamara with no Landry, no Michael Thomas. Great matchup, good spot. Pollard was 6,100 against one of the worst D lines with no Zeke in a spot where they were 10-point favorites at home. And then the guy Foreman was by far the best value play on the slate at $5,300 with Hubbard out. Like, don't be mad about that. Use it to your advantage. Build differently with the rest of your lineup. That's kind of what I want to do moving forward. It's become apparent that's the thing that you just have to focus on the most. Pick and choose. Don't take any of these maybes. Last week, the non-maybes were Barkley, who definitely did not come through, but he makes sense as the whole offense. But then Henry and CMC, they were still great spots and low ownership for CMC and all that. They did a lot. I can't remember if they hit the optimal. I think it was just those other 3 guys, but they were right outside of it. So just giving you an idea of what I'm saying is do what you just said, Crane. Focus on these spots, play the ones you like, build a smaller running back pool if that's how you really feel, and leave the maybes out. Get the maybes at wide receiver where variance is much higher.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of when I'm building my lineups, and you say get rid of the maybes. I like to eliminate as many people as possible. I want to choose guys rather than say just leave guys in. So, I mean, when I'm building my player pool, I literally eliminate everybody first. That way I can choose the guys that I want rather than just, this guy's in, maybe he'll hit it, maybe he won't. No. I want to choose the guys that I want. And these running back plays have just been such good plays this year. And I think this week that's going to continue.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, let's move on here. We got a couple things. JD McKissick isn't going to play for the Guardians. Gibson's had back-to-back 14-touch weeks. Looks like he's out of the doghouse. Robinson's there. The other thing I'll just throw out, Damian Harris missed practice on Friday. Ramondre's already in a terrific spot. So if you guys want to talk about this, the Guardians, fine. But Crane, I want to get your thoughts here on Stevenson with or without Harris.
He's a great
By
player.
Guardians, do you mean Commanders?
Yeah.
I like it. I still want to cheer you up. I'm just
they had to change the names.
Yes.
And they're the fucking Redskins, man. But
no, Ramondre Stevenson, just really
Commandians.
quick. Like this Damian Harris coming back doesn't affect anything for me. Like very clearly Ramondre is the guy there. And again, he's $1,000 too cheap. So I'm going to be playing him in lineups. Like Damian Harris doesn't move the needle for me at all. I want to hear Tambo's take on, because I think some people might end up going to Antonio Gibson this week. I don't hate Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
At his price.
I was just going to say right quick. Yeah. I won't go there because it's the same shit. You're trying to figure it out. Everyone has their take on which guy's which. There's too many guys that I don't need to think about that with. If I was going there, I would go to Antonio Gibson, just because I think with McKissick out, it's almost like when Robinson got shot and they just had to play Gibson out of necessity. They didn't want to. They said from the start of the season they don't want to play him. Robinson had an unfortunate incident, ended up coming back from it. He immediately goes away. Now the reason Gibson's out is because there's going to be some shared workload. He has to be there for that reason. But with McKissick out, I think it actually would be him. The only way I could possibly see going to him, again, you guys want to follow my stuff right up till Sunday morning, this channel, the Off the Chalk Show, right after's Crane, etc., holding up to lock at Rumpier Sports. But I will say this, is I'm going to be playing Cousins stacks. So if I'm going to play Cousins, Jefferson, and someone else, whether it's Hawkinson or whoever I end up deciding to go to there, running it back with Gibson wouldn't be the worst idea. I think he gets the checkdowns. The argument, Crane, could be that Robinson starts things off, gets it going on the ground, but I don't like this matchup at all going up against Minnesota. So for me, definitely, if I was playing anyone, it would be Gibson, and it would be in those stacks with Cousins. That's how it would shake out.
They're going to keep that game close. I'm telling you right now. The whatever the hell the Redskins. They're going to keep that game close. But Kirk Cousins' revenge narrative, I think people be on that.
What's crazy is you call them the Guardians, and I didn't even flinch. I was like, yeah, the Guardians. That's
it's
right.
Just,
Two teams that change their name on different parts of the country, but yes.
Different sports.
Yeah.
I didn't even flinch.
All right, so Claypool. Let's go to wide receiver here. Eberflus says Claypool's gonna play, could see 10 to 35 snaps. Like Tambo, how deep down the well? You're just praying he catches a bomb and scores? He's not in the pool, is he?
I've got interest actually, not in Claypool, but in the fact that he's going to get at least some sort of snaps. I hope it's closer to 35, but what I like is that I actually think Mooney's turned it on a little bit lately. I like Fields this week. I'm hoping that when you get a real receiver like Chase Claypool out there, that can just pull a little bit away, almost like the Cincinnati Bengals effect, where you've got Chase and Higgins when they're both in. Obviously Higgins out now, but when you have those guys in there, one pulls from the other. If we can get that, I think it could open up for Mooney. I like him. I like ESB. Say we're going to talk about probably a different Amon. We're going to talk about Amon-Ra, but his brother Equinemius is there. I mean, Dante Pettis ain't moving the needle, so that's why they went and got Chase Claypool. I think that could open up a little bit more for Mooney, and in that game, you could go Fields, Mooney, Tyreek Hill, and cut it off, and just play those three and do whatever you want after that. And it's still fairly cheap because the Fields side with Mooney keeps the price down for your average.
Crane, where you on Claypool?
It's funny that you mentioned Mooney, because I don't have interest in Claypool. I'm not planning to do it on limited snaps, but I do like Mooney and I do like Fields this week. Like, I think Fields has just been a freaking stud, and now he's going up against a matchup with Miami where we're going to have to try and score just because the Dolphins are clearly going to put up points on this defense. So, like, I think Fields is a phenomenal play this week. I think the floor is high. I think the ceiling is high. I think Fields checks a lot of boxes. And while I'm not going to Claypool, Mooney's a guy at 4,700 that I definitely do have interest in. And the reason is, as Tambo said, if the defense can't just key in on Darnell Mooney anymore, they've got going to have Claypool out there. So to me, I think you could see Mooney running free a little bit, and Fields looks competent.
Let's talk about the Chargers wide receiver situation. Allen's out. Williams is out. DeAndre Carter is questionable. He's sick. You'd hope he plays, right? Palmer's been a disappointment, but at least he gets to move into the Mike Williams role, not having to play the Keenan Allen role. He's better in that spot. So, Tambo, I'm coming to you first on the Chargers passing game. Who do we trust?
The guys they have. I'm definitely in on that passing stack this week. So Herbert, stack them up. You can go. I mean, it worked out perfect because even Parham's out now too. So it's less to think about. It's just going to be Eckler is his wide receiver one. You don't need it. This is what people always do. Oh, but he's 8,800 and he's probably not going to catch 10 balls again. I don't need him to. Maybe he catches 6 balls, but takes 2 of them to the house. You have no idea how it's going to shake out. All I know is the opportunity can be there. Palmer for sure on the outside, Carter in the slot, Everett at tight end. That's it. You put him with 2 guys because Herbert isn't too mobile. So it's just Herbert with 2 of those guys. You don't have to run it back, right? They're playing against Atlanta. So we've played this game before. If you want to run it back, by all means, go ahead, but you do not have to run it back. And honestly, they don't throw the ball a lot, as we saw last week. Of course, Pitts got there finally. So if you wanted to do it, go to Pitts and do it that way. But I don't think you have to go there at all for a run back.
Talk to me, Crane. What do you want to do with this Chargers offense? Who are the pass catchers?
I mean,
Eckler.
You play Austin Eckler if you can. I'm struggling to pay 8,800 for running back this week. That's my biggest issue there. Josh Palmer, I'm glad he's priced at 5,100. Because if he was 3,700, everybody would be on him, right? At 5,100, he's not going to be all that popular. I'd guess under 15%. So to me, Palmer's an elite play. Gerald Everett's a guy that I'm absolutely going to be playing at 4,800. Tight end, not a great position this week. I might even throw a little gamble on Trey McKitty. I don't think that's the most insane thing in the world if you really want to play min-price tight end. But I mean, I was wanting to play this Michael Bandy guy, right? And I
looked him up too.
Man, the player profile, it's just a frowny face.
You
It's
can't
just
do it.
he's a 5'9" white dude.
All right, let me talk. Let me get some actual information out of you, because once we go Bandy, we can't come back. So I'll ask you about the Packers. This is interesting. They're playing the Lions this week. We love picking on the Lions defense. Alan Lazard's going to be a game time decision. How do I handle the whole Packers passing game? Do we even bother with it, or you just roll with a chalkier Aaron Jones, Crane?
Look, I don't think Aaron Jones is that chalky, first of all.
Really?
No,
I hope he isn't.
No, I mean, there's only so many running back spots. You can't, these guys just can't be popular. They can't be. So, no, I mean, I like Aaron Jones. It's just, again, there's an opportunity cost at running back. With these wide receivers, if Lazard misses, Dobbs at 5,300, you can get a number 1 receiver against the Lions at 5,300. I think he's a fine play. Christian Watson, they've shown that they want to get Christian Watson involved. Do I like it? No. Am I willing to roll the dice at 3,500? Yes. This isn't a spot that I'm completely head over heels in, but I don't know. I probably should be, because the prices on these guys are a little bit too cheap if Lazard's out.
What do you think here about this Packers passing or Packers offense, Tambo?
Yeah, it's a tough one to go through, because Jones has been sort of a dual threat, right? You've been able to be a receiver for him, but it's because he's been down so many guys where Lazard would affect that as well. If Lazard was out, I would bump him up some, but I think Lazard plays. So I like Lazard, the fact that he's not going to be owned based on we're not going to get the information till late. People already have built their lineups. He's 6,000. Maybe they don't want to go there. At start of the week, liking Dobbs. The more I look at it, though, I think he's going to be, again, no one's going to be super popular, to Crane's point, where I think they blow up with ownership. But any inkling of ownership on him, and when there's none for $1,200 more on a guy like Lazard, I'm just going to go to him. So I actually like Lazard. I like Tunyon. Actually, too, we talked about how ugly tight end is. I think this is a spot you could go down there and get there that way. I don't think I'll stack it up, though. I know others are with Rodgers and 2 pass catchers, running it back with Amon-Ra. Maybe as the week goes on, but as of right now, I don't see that being one of my stacks here.
All right, I'm coming right back at you with the next one. We got some Raiders news here. Devontae Adams stunk last week because he had a really bad flu. So he's off the injury report, but the guy now is Waller. So he's got a hamstring. He's questionable. And Foster Moreau went 6 of 9, 6 catches, 9 targets, 31 yards last week. The passing game here with the Raiders, any interest anywhere?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm definitely interested in Moreau if Waller's out. He's been running routes like crazy. He's just out there catching balls. I really like that spot. And I like this Jacksonville side. So whether you want to stack it or not, you can definitely get some really good secondary stacks in this game. I don't think it's the best matchup for Josh Jacobs, but again, he did dud last week. So people that want to get on the little flop leg action, he's right there, $100 less than Aaron Jones. You can mix him with one pass catcher on the other side, whether it's Evan Ingram with Jacobs or Zay Jones or Christian Kirk looks really good, right? So I think there's a lot of options within this game that you can use. I don't know about stacking it up the other way, but I think if I wanted to get to Adams, I would do it through a game stack of like Lawrence, Kirk, Ingram, run it back with Adams, and then you'd be able to fit those 6K running backs in that Crane talked about, get yourself a pretty nice lineup. It just needs to hit and go off. But the Lawrence factor, just to bring that up right quick, he's 53 or 50. He's cheap this week.
Yeah.
And he's averaging almost 3.5x Draftkings points on that salary he's at. So if he gets to 4.5x and has a bigger game, that's going to be really nice in some stuff, especially like higher dollar, smaller field where the stack just builds itself. The run backs are there, and then you can fit all the other stuff in with it, no problems. So I like that quite a bit.
Crane wants to pay up for wide receivers. Is Devontae Adams in the player pool?
I think Devontae Adams is one of the best plays in the entire slate. Like coming off a week where he was very clearly sick. Like I know he suited up, he gave it the old go. You know, Tambo mentioned flop live with Jacobs. I think we're going to see that with Devontae Adams this week. I think Adams absolutely goes nuts in this matchup. And we talked about the 6K running backs on the other side. Like Etienne's a guy that I've been on all year. He's finally getting there. Now everybody's going to be on him with me, which I guess I'm fine with that. There's plenty of room on the bandwagon. Come on, join up. We're going to have a good time. But this is a very stackable game to me. Like Christian Kirk's fine. I very much prefer Etienne. And I know the ownership's over 30% right now. I can't imagine that holds. Like I have to believe that it's going to be a little bit less than that just because ownership at running back is going to be spread out this week.
All right, just a couple more situations here. Tight end, Cade Otton. Is it Cade Otton week again with Braid out? How much have you been using Otton, Crane, if at all? And do you like him this week?
I mean, I haven't been using him that much just because I'm not sure the ceiling's there, and I'm probably not using him again this week. Like, okay. I guess 3,100. Maybe I end up needing that salary. Like, if I built my team, and tight end's kind of the position I'm filling in last this week. So if I have 3,100 left over for a tight end, yeah, I guess I'd play him. That's fine, but I'm not going out of my way to play Cade Otton.
Tambo, he's 3-1. I actually see some guys lower than that at least could be in the mix. What do you got at tight end? You want any Otton?
Yeah, I do for sure. So happy to get the great news early. I don't think people will go to him. Like, man, he's a great spot here. It's cheap. The tight end sucks. Doesn't matter. You can run a secondary stack with it if you want. You don't have to. You can just use him as a one-off. I want a guy like that. He does not block. He just runs routes all day, and that's what I want at tight end. Him and Moreau are both getting actually a lot of action, a lot of work, and sort of nobody is going to go to them because they're going to the guys within their stacks, or they're going to the Higbees, and I don't even know who else is popular as of right now. That, again, like Crane said, the ownership will change quite a bit, but at least for right now, it's showing like Ingram, Hurst, Tunyon, Conklin, Higbee, Pitts, guys like that. So, you know, he's not even on the radar.
Is Knox a thing this week?
Oh yeah. Knox
okay. I assumed so, but I didn't hear you mention him.
People are going to be playing Allen, of course, for good reason, and they want to be able to stack it up where they could actually get a touchdown or two. This guy's possible with a guy like Dawson Knox, and then on top of it, they want to be able to fit those running backs, like you said, Crane. So that's the best way to get. You can't go like Allen, Diggs, Davis like last week. Tua was 6,200 to get his two receivers in. You don't have that option here when you've got a guy like Josh Allen at 8,200. So I definitely think it's going to be a popular spot for people just to get a piece of that game if they're not on Josh Allen with Knox, or use them within those stacks. And again, you can go somewhere else there and get different.
All right. Couple things with the Rams. Don't worry about Cooper Kupp. Expected to get a normal workload this week. Not really hindered with the ankle, but McVay said there's a possibility Cam Akers is going to play against the Bucs. Tambo, I can't convince you to play Cam Akers, can I?
No.
Good. Let's move on. Crane?
I'm just thrilled to ignore this Rams team outside of Cooper Kupp.
Okay, good.
Rams are easy.
Makes it easier.
Like I'm not fucking with these running backs. Like, I'm not messing with Allen Robinson. I'm not messing with Van Jefferson like people did last week. Like, I'm good.
Is there anybody on the Jets passing game that we would consider, guys? Corey Davis is out. They're gonna listen. I think they have one of the worst quarterbacks in the league with Wilson, but they're still gonna have to throw the football. Crane, any pass catchers with the Jets?
I mean, Garrett Wilson's interesting to me.
Yeah.
And this is a team that they might have to throw the ball 40 times in this game. He's $4,800. I like Mooney more at that same price tag, but Garrett Wilson, I think, is perfectly reasonable. I keep wanting to like Elijah Moore, and I just can't do it anymore. Like I gave him a shot last week. I cried a little bit. It was a sad time. Like I can't do it anymore. I'm not playing Braxton Berrios, Denzel Mims. I know he got the second most routes on the team last week. I'm not going there. Like it's Wilson or nobody. I don't think Ty Conklin's insane either. Like Ty Conklin's got a little bit of work at 3,200 at a tight end position where I don't love anybody. 16 targets over the last 2 weeks. Earlier in the season, he was averaging 8 targets a week. Like I don't think Conklin is insane.
Hambo, you want some of the Jets passing game? And if so, who?
Yeah, 2 pieces. One, he mentioned him. He's not as interested as I am, but I'm not super interested. But just the Mims factor, he did play almost all the snaps. He got two catches for 76. The fact that is a possibility, like that's at 3,100. Worth taking the risk if going there. But I'm with Crane on the Conklin thing. This is what's hilarious about DFS every week. Like, oh, he'll never get 26 again. Yeah, he doesn't need 26 at that price. Thanks.
Give me 15. 15 I'm doing car wish. Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. People always do this in NBA the other night. Oh, there's no way Paul George is getting 78 again. Of course he's not. We know he's not getting 8 stocks tomorrow night, but he might get you 60 still, and he's still fine to play him. So that's where people confuse it too much that they're chasing. You don't need to chase 26 points. You can chase and get 12 to 15 and still end up okay. So I don't mind it at all, actually. And I think it's an interesting spot, especially because if we're going to those Allen stacks, you're going to need something on the other side for some price relief. And just one quick thing on the Mims factor. It's like instead of Conklin, I don't love this. I'm just saying because I'm stacking the Josh Allen spot. If instead of Dawson Knox, you can use Conklin for cheaper and in the same spot and same game, maybe they have similar ownership, but it's just a way to go there. But if you wanted to use the same money and get different roster construction, you can use the cheaper guy in the wide receiver slot. And yeah, you're waiting on the whole game to hope Mims catches a bomb or a couple long passes and gets you that bonus and a touchdown. But if he does, it's going to be awesome within those stacks, and you're going to have a lot of what you want in those stacks for floor ceiling combination. So just an interesting take there. I don't think it's a good one, but I'll play some just because in tournaments, who cares? You're just playing a small share and within those stacks only.
I will say I have a concern about Mims. I think it's possible he gets benched too. Like he's also bitched about being there. Like it's.
But why does he get 44 snaps out of 59 last week? Now Corey Davis is still out, and then they just bench him. It doesn't make any sense.
Because it's possible Elijah Moore gets more snaps.
Yeah, they just go from one bitch to the other.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they're both, neither want to be there. Yeah, like
so
Salah must be brutal to play under.
But like, there's no way I can play Elijah Moore at 4,300.
I'm not playing either of them. I'm not playing either of them.
He's 500 less than Garrett Wilson, who would just be a better spot. So I'm Garrett Wilson should play no matter what. That's the first part. I should have said that off the top, but I'm interested more in the cheaper pieces to make those bill stacks work. And I'm only interested in these guys in bill stacks. I don't really like any secondaries in this game.
You know, I'm working on my one lineup right now. I'm not going to lie. Ty Conklin fits very nice in there.
There you go.
All right. Good stuff, guys. Oh, and AJ Terrell's out for the Falcons. So when everybody's talking about the Chargers not having any pass catchers, just remember that there are guys that could catch those passes. Herbert's the quarterback, and they're down there top corner. So that's something just to keep in mind. Tambo, when are you on next? We know when you're. I know when. You tell everybody when they catch you next.
Sunday morning, this very channel. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button, big red button down there. Get us up to, I think we're hitting 13,000 now, so we're going to be pushing for 15,000, but off the chalk, Sunday morning, 8:45 a.m. Eastern time. It's an early start, but one of the better shows. We talk a lot of the ownership, the stacks, the exposures, breakdowns, it's our final thoughts basically for the week. So if you want any of that from me, that's where you're going to get it. And then after that, we of course have Crane. Let the people know what we got coming up next after the Off the Chalk show.
Yeah, we'll have the Morning Wood Show with me, Big T and Hoop, the only show out there with 3 Millie Maker winners, and we're going to be over there we're going to be crushing a little bit. We're going to be having some fun. It's easily my favorite show I do every week. Sorry, guys. But it's a good time.
Okay, it's a good show.
All right, so 8:45 Eastern for Tambo, 10 o'clock Eastern for Crane.
Yeah, I get to wake up a little later than Tambo.
11:30 for me, JSU, Dunkel from the bet side, one of the best DFS players. Nobody talks about it. JSU is amazing. We take you up to lock. We listen to your questions. We answer your questions. And we also get all of the inactives. So we go right through it again, right up to lock. We'll answer your questions, any pivots. We'll talk about the cores and everything else. For Tambo, for Crane, I'm Holden. Helmet, it's been wonderful doing all these shows with you again on this Friday. Get us out of here.